Your internet privacy protections are now officially gone. The deal is sealed. So Donald Trump signed the bill yesterday, but I want to take a minute here to look at the new numbers we have on this because it paints a disgusting picture. Just 6% of Americans think ISPs, internet service providers, should be allowed to share such sensitive data without permission, and 83% oppose the concept, according to the HuffPost YouGov poll. The objection crosses party lines, with more than 80% of Democrats, Republicans, and independents all saying ISPs shouldn't be allowed to share customers' browsing history and other personal information without permission. So, in other words, President Trump just signed a bill that only 6% of Americans agree with. 6%. 6%. That's got to be a record. I'm convinced that's a record. What has a 5% approval rating that got through? What has a 3% approval rating? 6% of Americans approve, and he signed it. I don't know why this isn't the biggest story in the country. No, seriously, this should be considered the biggest story in the country. I mean, this is just, I've never heard of anything like this. 6%? They always, don't get me wrong, we know that the government, they're always, the executive branch and the legislative branch, they're always passing and signing, these pieces of legislation that are majority disliked. But when you have only 6% of Americans that agree with you, I'm serious, that has to be a record. I can't get over it. 6%. 6%? Okay, so for those of you who don't get the backstory to this, what happened is you had the internet service providers give a colossal, gargantuan amount of money to Republicans. And this is an issue, by the way, where all the Democrats were on the right side of it, so credit to them. But you had the internet service providers give all this money to the Republicans. Mitch McConnell took $250,000 from them. But what happened is they voted on the side of the internet service providers basically against the wishes of everybody in the country. Because the internet service providers want the ability to take your sensitive information, healthcare information, social security number, web browsing history. They want to take that and they want to sell it to third parties. Because third parties want to be able to advertise and have your information in order to do that. And you just made it so that the internet service providers can make a hell of a lot of money from third parties, which is why they lobbied the government, and the government, or the Republicans specifically, decided, yeah, we're going to go ahead and allow you to do something against the wishes of the people. You have their information, their sensitive information, and they don't want you to sell it to third parties, but we're going to let you sell it to third parties. Thanks for the bribe. So this is, I've never seen a clearer example of open corruption and bribery in government. The fact that mainstream outlets are not showing that list that has the amount of money from internet service providers that all these different Republicans took, that's a scandal. And that right there is evidence of Noam Chomsky's manufacturing consent. That somehow in the United States, with our corporate media structure, you actually get a picture painted of the world that's more in alignment with the establishment and the government than you do in some cases from literal state media. You're just doing the government's bidding and the establishment's bidding if you're refusing to call a spade and say, hey, the only reason the Republicans voted this way was because of the bribes they took. And they don't do it. They pretend like, no, this is a principled discussion that we're having about two different sides that are equally viable. One side wants to destroy your internet privacy, and the other side is for it. But it's 50-50, and let's discuss it like it's serious. It's not serious. It's a position that was bought by the industry. Open corruption, open bribery. So this is just absolutely ludicrous, man. For fuck's sake. This is where we're at. So just so everybody knows, you think Donald Trump is on your side, you think he's for the people, you think he's draining the swamp. I've never seen a swampier move in my entire life.